I left my family. I left my kids. I left my nightclubs, my parking company, $35 million to fight the fight.
Welcome to another episode of Mafia Truths. I'm Felix Levine. To my right, John Alite. We've got Johnny Alite, his son. Joining us on Zoom is Rob Van Dam. But before we get into it, a quick reminder to subscribe to our Patreon channel. We post all content early there, bonus content. You get discounts on merch. We do our live call-ins now. So if you want to become part of that Patreon family, the link to that is in the description of this video. A quick reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then these bats over here that we've been selling as memorabilia.
This is a special bat that I signed to Rob, actually. So, brother, this is for you. And anybody that wants a baseball bat, get in touch with Felix, get in touch with our show.
Or just JohnnyLite.com. You guys can buy it right there. And so let's hop into it. Rob Van Dam, sir, thank you for taking the time and coming on. It's a pleasure and honor to meet you.
Right on. Yeah, absolutely. I watched the show a lot. You know, a lot of other guys' shows too. Like before the pandemic, it seems like there was like maybe one or two, and then three, and now there's like so many guys, ex-mobsters doing their shows. But glad to be on, dude.
I appreciate it. And for the people that don't know, we have a good mutual friend, Phil Baroni from the UFC. Now, he used to live with me at some time, and I know you guys are buddies, and that's coincidental. We didn't know that originally.
Right? Yeah. I don't know if you feel cool about telling any of his stories or not when he was with you, but he's got one on YouTube where he's talking about him. I don't know if he maybe he was collecting some money or something, and he got jumped, and they stabbed his head, or sliced his head. He didn't get into detail except for pretty much what I just said, and I saw that, and I assume maybe that might have been in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, well, they say when they used to call him badass in New York, and people, make comments, and I'm saying, well, this kid legitimately is a tough kid from the street before he got in the ring with UFC, before he got into wrestling, and now I'm going to bring him in on a 10-part project I'm doing with a lot of mob guys. I'm bringing him in because of his background, actually involvement with me, living with me, and his father used to work for me. So there's a lot of a background with me and Phil Baroni, and I really love the guy. He's a wild guy, you know that, and he's a cool kid.
Yeah.
And
So I actually met him like a long time ago at a DirecTV event. I was with the WWE. I think it was 2002 or 3 or something, and they had booths set up like I remember meeting him. I knew who he was. I'm an MMA fan. But this was 2000. It was August, either 2015 or 16. It was 15. 2015. They used to do this wrestling convention annually in North Carolina, and we hooked up there. He came to the Q&A that I was doing, and he even though he's a fighter, he likes to do pro wrestling too. I can't remember what he asked me some questions when I was doing a Q&A, and man, fast forward to the end of the night, we were so drunk. Like I drank a lot during this time period of my life. Not proud of anybody that saw me around there, but it was ridiculous. We ended up in the pond, the hotel pond, and it's got cement bottom on it, so we were so scraped up. But I woke up, had a broken foot the next day. I was limping around like, dude, my foot is broke. What happened? We had fun, but one of my buddies, trying to look out for me because, like I said, I was drinking a lot at the time. He was trying to keep me in check, and he fucking had it recorded on his cell phone, and I had to watch myself. That's the worst, dude. When you're sober, watching yourself be a drunk asshole, I was like, I'm gonna get you, Phil. I fall down on my own, and it was ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, I went to see him the other day, and I pulled up to the house, and 8 cop cars pulled up alongside us. So that started it, and that was our reunion. We're back, and he got locked up again. I had to bail him out, and the cops were real cool though, actually. And they said to me, "You guys gonna be cool here? You're gonna give us trouble?" And I says, "No, you guys keep the stun guns away. You know, I'll talk to him." And yeah, and Phil was real cool. You know, guys that don't know Phil, yeah, he's dangerous, he's wild, but he's a cool guy, man. And you know, I love him because he's always in the middle of some mix, and so he deserves that name that he got nicknamed Badass in New York because he really is. But he's a good-hearted guy, and that's the part a lot of people don't know about him. Just don't get in his way the wrong way, and you know, so he's gonna be something on the new series that we're gonna do, and you know, I can't wait till he starts filming with us. Actually,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
very cool.
Hey, Rob, Johnny over here has a few questions. I don't know if we can turn the computer, but hold on. Yeah, I probably can't. But
no, it's all right. What's up, Rob? So
What's up, John?
nothing much, man. We've been in talks, and you know, it was nice. Obviously, we had a good introduction and all that, and we know what
Your
this.
voice sounds familiar.
Yeah, and you know, obviously, we know kind of what my father and Felix kind of try and tailor these types of shows for, trying to steer these kids away from, you know, the bad and the dark and all that other stuff. You know, we're kind of curious just to hear your story because I know you're a big marijuana advocate, CBD. You know, you got your own line. You're working on some other lines. I'm curious, and we want to kind of, you know, shed some light as to what you went through, you know, and how you kind of started to steer your way away from the law, and kind of some of the run-ins you might have had if if that's something you're comfortable with talking about.
Oh, I'm comfortable talking about anything.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, I'm very genuine and overly honest to a flaw. You know what? Interestingly enough, because of the way I was brought up, I was taught in high school that marijuana is a dangerous drug, right? And it's like acid, heroin, stay away from it. It's bad news. But when I was, looking into being a professional wrestler, these athletes that I looked up to, they liked marijuana. I actually stayed away from it until we had a wrestling trip in Jamaica, and it was my 21st birthday, coincidentally, on that tour. And we were all in this bungalow. One of the wrestlers, Jimmy Backlund, just peer pressured me into it. You know, he was like, hit it, you prima donna. It's not going to kill you. Hit it. We all hit it. Fuck it. And I was like, all right, 21 years old. I actually didn't enjoy my first experience either, but shortly after, I guess I started doing it with a bouncer that I worked with. I was bouncing at this country bar in Tampa. Same year I got the name Rob Van Dam. This is 91. It was so long ago.
I hope it wasn't my club, was it? I owned a couple. American Cowboy, I owned Stampedes. Those were my clubs.
American Cowboy. That one sounds familiar.
That was on Waters in Dale Mabry. We were right next door to what's his name from the WWE. He was in town. He owned the gym. He owned the Gold's Gym at the time. I can't remember his name, but we were on Waters. That was my club with my partner Cam. He'd passed away since. Later on, he opened up the club Hogs with Terry. Hulk Hogan. Him and Hulk opened up that place after that. I wasn't involved in that one.
You're making like my skin crawl a little bit here because I think that was the place.
Yeah, I think you worked for me.
But it was this place was changed to the Wild West Club.
Right, I know the Wild West Club. It's a little further.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Because there was one also at that time that was like the Dallas Bull.
Dallas Bull. I think it's still there, Dallas Bull. It's been there for years. I've been in the Tampa area for years. I owned a lot of clubs there. So I had the Stampedes later on. I think that was 94. Yeah. Okay,
yeah. I remember, so I remember that. That's why it sounded so familiar. But yeah, there was a point where looking back at it, from experience, we were assholes bouncing. Like we were like, man, we need to get some respect in here. We need to start hurting some people. And the Dallas Bull, we thought they had respect. People weren't starting fights as much in their club, and so we were out to be assholes and hurt people, which was so stupid.
We're young.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was young till my mid-40s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, somewhere along the line, I guess I started using marijuana regularly. And at the same time, I was learning that most of the reasons that it was prohibited was just straight up bullshit that was put out in the 30s, and a lot of that hadn't changed, and I kind of felt like I needed to explain to people, because they were like smoking cigarettes everywhere. Everyone smoked cigarettes, and they were pot shaming me. And I wanted to tell everybody, like, no, cigarettes kill 1 out of 2 long-term users. 50% of cigarette smokers die from it if they don't stop. And marijuana is not capable of causing fatality. I'm like, you have to understand, and I just knew that eventually everybody would understand. So I became an advocate early on.
Now I know why my son follows you, because I know, so it's you that turned him on to the marijuana that he smokes, because he's a fan of yours also.
But you know what? I came to terms with that a long time ago. Yeah. I don't know if I've caused anybody to get hurt, by my example that I lead as, but if they were, it's only either by the law or by family member or someone that's against it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying no one has ever smoked something and been stupid and gone out and done something stupid. That happens all the time with anything. But I know that I've helped a lot of people. And so that's why one time I was overseas, somewhere in the UK, and I was smoking I went outside and I was smoking a joint in the parking lot of this building complex. And then I realized, like, my back was against this one-way window, and it kind of looked like a school. And I was thinking, like, man, there could be a bunch of kids just slipping pink smoking right now. I don't know what's on their side. And then my thought was, I hope they, if so, I hope they know that this is marijuana, not cigarettes.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that. If people can do it responsibly. If they can't, then that's on them. I don't think I put any irresponsible messages out there.
Yeah,
I agree.
Hey, Rob, how often do you smoke?
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there something specific that it helps you with? Like, is there a reason as to you doing it? Like, I know for myself, it helps me anxiety, especially to sleep at night. I have a very hard time sleeping.
Yeah, so the best way I can explain it is it makes me feel like I'm at my best.
Awesome.
There was a point when I walked away from WWE. I was on top, really good position. Well, when I was on the very top, I got busted. That was when I was the WWE champion and ECW champion, and I got pulled over, possession of marijuana. Lost both championships, suspended 30 days. That was a very well publicized moment in my career, and it did suck. But shortly after that, my contract had expired, and I didn't want to re-sign, and they wanted me to. And we tried negotiating, and I was just like so burnt out. And really, what was behind that is that I'd just been wrestling already, for so long. And I felt like I had the mind and the body, but I was learning about my spirit and how my spirit was unhealthy. And, I was unmotivated. Anyway, to jump from there to answer your question, it's now like my main goal is like spirit first. And I'm always trying to raise my spiritual vibration, because the higher my vibration, the better frequency I'm putting out, the better life is. And I love my life. And so for that reason, when I smoke, it actually helps my spiritual ascension. And from that matter, all good things come. When you're vibrating at your best and you're feeling good, that's when synchronicities happen. That's when you're on your game.
Yep.
You can't feel good and be thinking bad thoughts. And you can't think bad thoughts and feel good at the same time. It's like when you're thinking good, you feel good, and boom. Hence, I feel like I'm at my best.
Awesome.
For everything. I could do it. Yeah, I could tell you. I could explain it physically. With the pain and and yeah, anxiety, performance. It can help reset me, especially if I've had to travel overseas several hours. Now we have pens, so we hit those anywhere.
Yeah.
But you know, if there's a lot going on, it kind of resets me. And even if you're in a different time zone or whatever, it allows me to engage in the moment and engage with life from my best perspective.
Well, you had some brushes with the law over the years, right? You think it helped your temperament with not, raising your hand sometimes, or losing your temper with other people. And by the way, it was Ric Flair that was next door to me back in Tampa, back in those days. He was a good dude with me. God. So yeah, so I'm going back. And actually, Hulk Hogan's son was in prison with me in Pinellas County, unfortunately, when he had the situation with his friend, and it was a terrible situation. But
giving me those bumps again. Nick lives like 4 or 5 blocks from me.
Yeah, does he?
Yeah. Synchronicities. See, it's because I'm talking about our energy being up. It doesn't happen when you're down. It doesn't happen when you're angry, or sad, or nervous. It doesn't. You're like disconnected from the universe, and I've been studying that since I became aware of my spiritual weakness, and now it's like it's priority.
Right.
Awesome. Right. But going back to John's question, do you feel like those run-ins with the law kind of changed you or made you a better person? Because one of the things that we try to kind of advocate on this show, especially with John and his past, is trying to help kids that have or will have run-ins with the law to try to make sure that those don't happen, and steering their lives away from that. So kind of curious to know what that experience or those experiences did for you, for the greater good.
I think watching these YouTube videos of the First Amendment auditors has made me a better person, more prepared to deal with the police. I love watching those things. Some of the guys are idiots, that shouldn't really represent, but I don't know if you watch those. They're amazing, like, roll your window down. No, I'm cool. I can't hear you. Yeah, you can. You got some ID. For what? What crime do you? I love watching those. I love those. Those are empowering to watch those, and learn, like, wow, the cops, have accountability too. That's awesome, because they are used to enforcing their morals and feelings on top of the law. But I don't know if it made me a better person, because I'm trying to find a perspective where I can say yes, it made me a more experienced person, just like everything does. But over the years, I think about the many times I've been fined and or kicked out of hotel rooms, fined at their car rentals, tickets by the police. Only that one was really public, because I had both championship belts. So by the time I was at the arena, because I was telling my partner Sabu, call the boss. I'm like, dude, are you crazy? Why would we be telling ourselves? Dude, it'll blow over. Because I was used to it blowing over. But by the time we got there, it was all over every form of media. It was huge news. And so I had to pay the consequences. What people don't know is after the 30-day suspension, I think it was like 2 weeks later or something, bam, I got pulled over for speeding in New Jersey, and I had dropped the joint, and I couldn't reach it on the floor when I was pulling over, like a Big Lebowski scene or something. I was fucked. And anyway, that one actually caused me a lot more stress and discomfort, just because I had to go back to New Jersey a couple times, I think, and had to go to court, and it was a pretty big deal. They never made it out, or else, I would have fired me. You know what I mean? But the point I'm trying to make is I don't think I really learned my lesson. I got, because it happens so much, and because I'm on TV and have been for so long, I also am kind of used to getting away with a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, whether somebody watches wrestling now, or they used to watch it and they quit watching 20 years ago, that's still my era. I've been wrestling over 30 years, And so I've impacted a lot of people's lives in a way where when they see me, you know, they act like little kids, you know, like, holy shit. Or people get excited, you know, and it's really awesome. But that has gotten me out of a lot of trouble, you know, not every time, but a lot of times, you know. And so I think what I did really was I just moved to a more liberal state. I moved to California where it was cool to smoke weed, and now I live in Nevada, which is just as cool. So that's what getting busted made me do. But it did make me a stronger advocate too, you know.
Rob, what was your most memorable moment wrestling? Your biggest moment that you recall that you loved the most when you were involved with WWE? Something that you really you know, that people remember?
Easy. When I won the WWE championship from John Cena at One Night Stand, like all fans watching this, you know, will be like, yeah, that was awesome. It really was. And the reason that it was such a highlight for my career was because my heart never left the hardcore style of ECW, which was a much smaller company.
Right.
And when I went to WWE, I kind of thought that I was selling out, you know, and they could have made me a different character. Who knows? You know, they had been known for doing some crazy stuff, but they had bought ECW, so I was there to represent. That was super cool because it added depth instead of erasing my history.
Right.
I was really happy about that. And then I had the hardcore title, and that was like being an ECW. I stuck to that always, and I catered towards the fans that would chant ECW. And I went to Vince one time, Vince McMahon,
right.
And I said, you know, why don't we do an ECW pay-per-view, you know, one night, just like a reunion, like, because the styles are so different. There's like no rules, you know, in ECW. And he said, Rob, I think that's a great idea. And we did it. And it was a huge success. Such a big success that next year we did it again. That's when I won the championship. And then we added a third brand, like there's Raw and SmackDown. Now we're adding a third brand based on that pay-per-view. And it was everything went down because of that seed in my mind. And it was like, for me, that was a really big accomplishment in my career to make that happen. I have no doubt I wouldn't have ever been the top guy world champion if I hadn't changed the entire playing field and then I was the best representative for that. So I was the right foot to put forward. And so for all those reasons, that's my crowning moment.
You ever think about, like, you know, you look back, and I know you don't look at yourself, but people look at you and your career as, you know, obviously a superstar. You were in everybody's house. How many kids that look up to you over the years, and not just kids, men, adults, women. You ever think about that and you look at yourself and humble yourself and say, wow, it's incredible how many people really follow me and know about me and really, you know, they cherish the memories of you?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people believe, you know, like, you just keep doing it. It's all about the kids. And really, you know, the best memories are the women.
Yeah.
No, it is incredible. You know, like I said, it's kind of like magic, like a superpower, making everybody happy and stuff. And it is always incredibly impressive. Like if a good looking chick right in front of your boyfriend or whatever, you know, oh my God, I love you. Can I get a photo? And, you know, it's a perk, you know. I was thinking before about this, and I've heard so many ex-mobsters when they're asked about what attracted them to the lifestyle, this and that, a lot of them talk about the superstar treatment. You know, they say, oh, you didn't have to wait in line anywhere, you get the best tables. And I mean, that's the way, you know, you get treated when you're on TV. So I think that's one of many, many things.
And we get the best photos sent to us.
Hey, Rob, question for you. What is it about the mafia that, or, you know, former mobsters that interests you?
That is a great question. I think it's a combination of things. A lot of it, I think, is the characters you know, because like I've always like obsessed about one thing at a time from what I can remember. I used to love Greek mythology. I loved comic books. I got into Hollywood history, and then that got me into mafia history. You know, I was because Bugsy Siegel lived up there by, you know, Lake Hollywood and came over here in the 30s, and then I just it fascinates me, and I love the nonfiction aspect of thinking that I spend so much time watching documentaries and reading books, and a lot of it interconnects in ways that people don't know, with the government, with the world. You know, like even if it's like big businesses that people know and they don't know the stories behind them and stuff, they have no idea like how much part of our daily fabric that is. And I think that it's a combination of that, and also the fact that the lifestyle is just so much different than mine, that I find that compelling. You know, honestly, I mean, I got to tell you, if I like hit a squirrel with my car and killed it, I would probably pull over and try and save it, and it would ruin my day. I'd be like really sad. That seems a lot different than some of the violence and stuff that comes from these stories.
But I actually feel the same way about animals. So animals are innocent, so I would probably feel the same way. But I think, you know what I think it is? I think it's because we put ourselves on the edge. We're always on the edge in our lifestyle. And, you know, I think a lot of it is a comparison to you guys, where we're adrenaline junkies. I mean, you guys are too. You're in a different way, in a positive way. You know, our adrenaline is but it's still an adrenaline rush, and I think we can relate to each other that way. And you know, obviously we're in whether we like it or not on our end, we're in front of the media because we're out in the forefront. So I think that's something.
Yeah, and at the same time, I don't know if you know about this or not, but when you're not in the media, both pro wrestling and the mafia life, you know, they're closed door societies.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. Maybe you know this. Yeah. It used to be, you know, when I got in, it was changing. Now it's way different. But it used to be nobody ever was even allowed in the building, and they were in it to see if the wrestlers were in the ring before the show or anything like that. Anybody, when I was in it still, you know, through the mid 90s, if like building people came into the dressing room, they'd get beat up and thrown out, and that's the way it was. We even had our own omerta that was called kayfabe, and you know, we didn't do the blood oath and all that, but the wrestlers were sworn to kayfabe because that's how they made their living, you know. And so, you know, there's one guy that flipped, did an interview with 2020. He's a friend of mine now, Eddie Mansfield, and he went and he told John Stossel a bunch of secrets about the wrestling, and he was like blackballed from the entire business. Yeah. You know, that's another similarity, you know.
Well, you know, I started to say something before, and you know, when Hulk Hogan, you know, I knew him as Terry, obviously, and the fans that know him, Hulk Hogan. You know, I wanted to say something about him because when things go bad for guys, and you know that in wrestling, you get a lot of people attack you the other way. When he had the situation with his son, I felt for him because he'd come visit the prison to see his son, and nobody wants to see their kid in that situation. I have a son that's in prison, and his kid was a good kid. And, you know, you only hear the negative of a terrible accident that happened between friends. So, you know, I want to say something to him and make sure I say this, that, you know, some guys, you know, they don't know the situation or his life on a personal level. And the guy was a good guy. His kid was a real good kid in jail. And he stayed to himself. And, you know, he had the struggling moments, obviously not. And I'm not talking about the physical. I'm talking about the mental that I try to keep kids off the street for. Because when you're put in those situations and the guilt of what went on with his friend and some of the stuff that come with it is back to our message of staying off the street and doing positive things. So I hope some of these stories, you know, and your what you're saying resonates with some of these kids that are listening to us.
Oh, it totally does. I get feedback all the time, and people love just the positive aspects of just being genuine. You know, I am what I wanted to be when I was a kid. You know, I'm a superhero.
That's awesome.
I mean, you know, I'm an image, you know, that the image is like a superhero. But what I mean by that, though, is that I have reached a level where, you know, I used to love collecting action figures. Dude, I have 80 different action figures made of me. That's a lot.
That's awesome.
I used to love playing video games. I'm in a bunch of video games. A lot of perks that come. I used to love action movies, and, you know, I've done a ton of action movies, and I still do some of those. And
I like to fight you in a video game, not in person. I don't want to get thrown around. I got a bad back and hip, but you know, I'm not stupid either. You know, that's why I carry the bat around. But yeah, my friend Jason David Frank, I don't know if you know him. He's a Green Ranger, and he's a very personal friend of mine. And you know, and again, he's a superhero, and you know, so I know the mentality and of you. I mean, you're a well known character in this world, and it's got to be rewarding to know that so many people look up to you and look to hear what you have to say, and you know, even for us to hear from you. I mean, obviously, you know, we're really looking forward to this. It's awesome. You know, life is all about making decisions, and I don't think there's an exception. That's everything, you know, throughout your whole life. You got to make the right decisions, and a lot of people don't seem to be equipped to do that. I've seen people making the wrong decisions. My decisions have always been different. You know, not everybody in my high school wanted to be a professional wrestler. It was very odd. You know, I had a lot of people, adults, kids, telling me that I was crazy. Me and my friend, Dango, we were both going to be pro wrestlers. And of course, we were swimming upstream. You know, we weren't allowed to talk about wrestling anymore in some classes because we were so obsessed with it. And I remember back then, you know, I didn't have any connection to the industry. In fact, nobody that lived in Battle Creek, Michigan, knew anybody famous. Like, the TV set was an entry, a portal to a different dimension. You know, it wasn't the same world. And so to cross over like that, I know that back then I would have thought, man, I'm going to prove it. I'm going to come back to my high school reunion. I'm going to put it in everyone's faces. And, but truth is that, one, they know it. And I've just grown so much that, you know, I'm happy with and grateful for my path that I have. And you know, I've argued many decisions that I made along the way. I've had people try to change for me and make me think like they think. And we all got our own set of values, and our values are built for us with our own principles. And so it's really awesome to be in a position where I just hope even people that might have used to, you know, be naysayers and didn't believe me and whatever, there's still time for you to hop on, you know, be happy. You know, 100%. I know you got to buy my action figures for your kids, and you used to hate me, but you know, it's all good. Let's grow together.
So before we kind of wrap this up, Rob, I wanted to just have you, you know, talk about a little bit about your CBD company, where you're at with it, exactly, you know, kind of some of the benefits, you know, where you guys are growing to, just a little bit of a background, you know, just let some of the people know about it.
Absolutely. By the way, John, there also, you know, there used to be approximately 27 different wrestling companies back in the territorial days that all had control of their own cities and shit, very much like the mafia families, you know, about the same number spread across the country. And just like, kind of like the commission, there was a national, it was the NWA, the national legislation or administration that umbrellaed over the whole country, and that all these 26 families like paid up to and stuff. So, you know, yeah, not to mention like there's a lot of personal, like Dino Bravo, the Canadian strongman, got taken out by the mafia, but his uncle was Vito Petroni, ran after the Rizzutos up there, and
right.
There's a lot of stories I've come across. I've always thought there was room for discussion or a book or something. I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been an advocate. I used to put a lot more energy into advocating a long time ago when I thought it was more of an uphill battle because, like I was saying before, people got to know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
people got to know that marijuana is a Schedule 1 controlled substance. Nixon put us there in 1970 temporarily. And that means it's the most dangerous. Marijuana is the most dangerous drug with zero medicinal value, even though they have a patent and sell Marinol, which is synthetic Marinol to patients. But they say because of that, they arrest hundreds of thousands of people a year still, put them in prison, sell their homes, destroy their lives. People don't care as much if it doesn't affect them, but it's crazy. Like that's since 1970, they've never changed marijuana's schedule on the controlled
Hopefully
list.
that comes soon. I think they're working towards that federally. So
they've been working on it forever, and it is going to come soon. We have just about 2/3 of the states that have stated that it's and have medicinal policies anyway.
Yep.
So I've heard that mandates will change. We'll see, but
slowly
that's crazy.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. So anyway, I used to put more energy into telling people something I didn't think they knew. Now, I think most people know a lot of marijuana doesn't make you violent and make you want to kill your family with a frying pan, and it doesn't make you aggressive. And I think a lot of people realize that now, and over 50%, maybe 65 on some statistics think that it should be legal recreationally. Because of that, I haven't attended as many activities. I used to talk to the college in LA, all kinds of stuff. But here's what, are we running short on time?
A little bit. We'll be all right.
We're good.
We're good.
Okay. This is what spurred me having my own company. Wrestlers from my generation are dead. They've all either overdosed on opiates or they've committed suicide as a byproduct of CTE from the concussions that we all get. And that's a major problem. It was an epidemic they were saying a while ago. Wrestlers 45 years and younger, bam. The guys nowadays, not so much. This generation, one, they smoke marijuana instead of taking pills and stuff.
Yeah.
Two, because of people like RVD that have changed the business, they are a lot more athletic. They're smaller. They're like 180-pound guys where it used to be 280-pound guys that could drink beer because the style didn't really demand that much physical activity. Now, you got to be an acrobat. You got to really be a legit athlete and live that lifestyle. Yeah. So they're not out partying. They're not taking all the pills and drinking. If anything, they're smoking. They're going to live a lot longer. So many of my friends have offed themselves. I was reading about CBD and CBG, which is like a precursor to CBD, helping with that issue.
Okay.
Possibly even regenerating dead brain tissue.
Really?
And I've always thought about putting my name on a cannabis brand, but there wasn't ways to protect it as much until it became quasi-legal. And now with the packaging and everything, I think that interested me. So that brought me in. I didn't just put my name on some products. I tested, came up with formulas. My pain product is the best in the industry. It's loaded with menthol, so you feel it working right away. You get that cold burn. It makes the pain go away, at least temporarily, and then it's loaded with the highest milligrams of CBD, and that works with your own healing system. It tells it to heal, both locally on the skin and when it gets into your endocannabinoid system inside. So it's really great. And we have tinctures. We have RVD rolling papers, which are real popular since I had those on WrestleMania.
I got to get my hands on some of this stuff.
Yeah. The RVD documentary, Icons, the WWE did. At the end of that, they show me giving Vince McMahon a pack of my RVD rolling papers. So that was really cool.
You got a website, Rob, with RVD?
RVDCBD.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're also getting into THC, that of course has to be grown and licensed differently in each state. You can't mail that off of a website, so that's going to be separate. But we just signed contracts just a few days ago, doing stuff both internationally and in some states here, like California and Oklahoma.
Okay.
We're
Awesome.
the quality product. We're always collaborating with other companies, creating new product or expanding our brand, and it's just it's really awesome. I've never been part of something that was so positively energized. Like everybody that gives me feedback on my product, they're thanking me for helping improve the quality of their life. They say even when they try out other CBDs, didn't work, they tried mine and it does, and that's for a reason, because I made my stuff.
I was going to say you made it yourself and you tested it out, so that's a big thing. Big thing.
Hey, Rob, last question here. Do you and I'm always curious to when I'm talking to guests to know how hopefully many more years of healthy life, but especially you've touched so many people, and you'll have your WWE.
I never touched them. That was a rumor.
I think that was Joe Biden.
Nowadays, you don't do that.
How do you hope that people remember you as not only as the entertainer, but as a man?
I suspect and hope that I go down as a trailblazer who did it my way. I have 3 documentaries done about me. One of a Kind, that's RVD Icons, and Headstrong on Amazon. You watch those, you know me, way more than you ever thought you would know about me, because like I said, I think in a documentary you should really get to know the person it's about. And I think they really got it. WWE got it. I always had to do everything my way. I was always frustrated with conformity, and that's something that I would love for kids to get from this whole thing. Not just kids, adults too. Like, I really did not enjoy that part of being a kid, when a kid said that you had to wear the right tennis shoes or you weren't cool. Mm-hmm. That shirt doesn't go with those pants, or what are you doing hanging around with that kid? Nobody likes him. Like, when I think about those things, it still bothers me, even though that was 40 years ago, And so as an adult, like, I refuse to strive to be mediocre. Who wants to be the regular people, the status quo? I don't. So I want to be me, and sometimes I'm strongly opinionated about the direction that I want to go as an artist, as a person, whatever. I've always stuck to my guns, and that's how I got where I got, how I stood out. I'm called one of a kind. I'm referred to as being the most unorthodox wrestler. Cool. I'm just me. And I really think that and hope that people can be comfortable just being them as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. The locker room, by the way, is very much still like being in high school with 40-year-olds or whatever. I think maybe whenever a bunch of men are around each other, they know too much about each other, It's like, hey, Felix, so what happened with that girl you brought home last night from the bar? Huh? That was a dude, right? It's like,
well,
and I have a lot of control over my world, my universe. That's my day-to-day life, and I prefer it that way. Like I said, spirit first. I'm all about Zen. I don't have stresses, and when I do, I got to fix them and remove them.
Awesome.
Hey, Rob, it was really a pleasure having you. And we definitely got to get together as soon as I shoot out to California.
Vegas.
Get in touch with you, Vegas. We'll go out to Lake Tahoe. And
talking to John Jr. too. Maybe something will happen out that way.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, thanks so much,
man.
Rob.
thank you so
Follow
much.
me at the Real RVD. The whole fucking show.
Yeah, take it easy, bro.
Thank you.